Rum, rum, taking up meditation. Rum, rum. Ah, nirvana. Hey, welcome to CWI. The beverage for this episode is the classic cocktail, the Manhattan. Now, I generally tend to think of this as my winter martini, but like a bowl full of chili, sure, yeah, it may taste best during the cold of winter, but it's not that bad any of the rest of the time of year either. And I chose it because it goes particularly well with what we're cooking this episode. Let's get started. Get you a shaker tin, fill it with some ice. Now, the classic recipe uses about 2.5 ounces of bourbon, 3/4 ounce of sweet vermouth, and Angostura bitters. Now, I'm using Paleo bitters. Get this in Louisiana, and I like it. It has a little bit different flavor. Give it a try sometime. Now, also, someone stole my jigger, so I'm going to have to kind of eyeball it this time. So let's do a couple of generous ounces of bourbon. I'm using Woodford Reserve here. It's got a very smooth flavor. Good stuff. And a little sweet vermouth. That's about right. And again, bitters. A little bit goes a long way, but I like a good couple of dashes in mine. All right. Give it a good shake. Classic bartender's workout. You can serve these on the rocks. I tend to like mine straight up. Again, it's usually my winter martini. And to garnish, maraschino cherry. Give this one a try. Like I said, it's not quite the classic, but it's a very good beverage. For the past year or so, I've been looking into the different dietary lifestyle choices out there, from the Paleo Primitive to the Eat to Live by Dr. Fuhrman, and while they do have their differences, the one thing I did find they have in common is the inclusion of seeds and nuts into the diet. And I've got to admit, I've developed quite an affinity for the thing, so let's go nuts. Ugh, I didn't really just say that.
First, set your oven temperature to 350 degrees. The ingredients are really pretty simple. For seasonings, we have 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1 tablespoon of powdered cinnamon, and about 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. We're also going to use about 3 to 4 tablespoons of coconut oil, about 1.5 tablespoons of maple syrup, and this will work with about 4.5 cups of pecans. You want your coconut oil to be in a liquid, pourable state, so throw it into the nuclear machine for a few seconds.
Alright, got our organic extra virgin pressed coconut oil. And a little salt. A little cinnamon. And a little cayenne pepper. All right, and last, a little bit of maple syrup, about a tablespoon, I guess. I got about a little bit. I'm gonna do about 1.5 tablespoons. A little goes a long way. And whisk it together. All right. Then add your nuts in. And I like to use a spatula to kind of mix them together. Just toss them around till they mix real well. All right, then just get a pan and spread them out in an even order, even fashion. Get all the goodness out. It's actually pretty easy to shake them out. Just get them into a nice even layer. To the oven. Time for a beverage.
Let these cook for about 12 minutes.
All right, time to check them. Oh man, those smell good. I'm just gonna let these set and rest for a little bit. Now, if you've left them in a little bit too long and your pan looks hot, I mean, I've kind of got mine about right, but if they look too brown, go ahead and take them out of the pan because that residual heat will tend to overcook them. But anyway, if you do them just a little bit under, you can leave them in the pan, just let them cool off there. Simple roasted rosemary walnuts. Try saying that 3 times real fast. When I first heard of this recipe, I'm thinking this is kind of odd, rosemary, walnuts, but then I thought, you know, this might be one of those things that's just weird enough to be good. And it is.
This recipe is very similar to the pecans that we just did. We're going to start off with fresh rosemary, about 2 tablespoons, get it chopped up. A little bit of kosher salt, about 2 teaspoons. And this time we're going to use honey in place of the syrup. 2 to 3 teaspoons. I like the raw honey. To this we're going to spice it up, add about 2 teaspoons of cayenne pepper, and of course our rosemary. Not shown, we actually used about 3 tablespoons of coconut oil again. Whip this all together, toss the nuts, about 4 cups, throw it into a 350-degree oven. You're good to go. Cook for about 12 minutes.
Belly up to the bar. All right, well that does it for this week's edition of CWI. Thank you all for joining, really appreciate it. If you like what you see, subscribe. I'm gonna try to start putting a few more of these out. But as for now, I'm ready for the weekend. Really good. I got it. When I first heard about this recipe, it was strange, walnuts, rosemary, but it's interesting. I figured it might be one of those recipes that would be almost. Try it again. Shit. There goes the outtakes for that one. Cut, break. Okay. For the passion. La la. Daily, honey, you don't need working. Nirvana. Hey, what? An outtake. Try again. Belly up to the bar. Well, that does it for this episode of CWI. Shit, glasses on. Rum. Nirvana. Oh, somebody step on a duck. No respect at all.